I am going to give you a little bit of housekeeping so that you know how this evening will work. I have spoken with Dick Spencer, who is the school's attorney of Drummond and Woodson, and am confident that we can continue this evening's proceedings in a correct and legal manner. On the way here, our moderator unfortunately got detained, which means at the last minute we had to pull everyone together, use some creative thinking, and come up with a moderator who we thought would be able to proceed through the evening. We do have a person whom will be nominated that we are confident knows Robert's Rules of Order and can proceed according to Title 20A, which is the school administrative law. Mr. Spencer did inform me during our conversation that our superintendent, Ms. Denise Hamlin, may take the floor and may discuss her budget as a preliminary prior to pulling in our moderator. And so at this time I'd like to introduce Denise Hamlin, who is the superintendent of schools.
Thank you all for coming, and I apologize for the late start. Unfortunately, Dick was detained on his way here from Portland. Like Shelley said, we did throw some things together. Thank you, Mr. Clay, for stepping into the picture to help with our moderation. Tonight you will be looking at and approving or reviewing 21 different articles for a budget of $12,300,000 for the RSU 67, Chester, Lincoln, and Mattawampug residents. So I would again like to welcome you and thank you for your patience, and we will open it up to any questions as we go through the articles. Again, if anyone has questions, come to the mic, state your name and the community you're from. If in fact the board chair directs that question to me, I'll be glad to answer it. If I direct it to the building administrators, they will also answer. So I think that we're ready. Our board chair, Jackie Thurlow, will call for a moderator. Thank you.
Again, thank you and welcome, and we're sorry for the delay. I'd like to thank the superintendent and the administration for putting this budget together, and I know it begins way back in November and December when they asked their staff for their input, and it has come through many revisions over the last few months. At this time, I'm going to call the meeting to order at, from where I'm standing, it looks like it's 7:06 or 7:07 p.m. If there are any individuals who are ineligible to vote, will you please go to the non-voters section up there. And I hope everyone has checked in with your respective town clerks. The first article is to elect a moderator. At this time, I will ask for the nomination of a moderator. Do I have a nomination? Chris?
I nominate Stephen Clay.
All right. Stephen Clay has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? Could I have a nomination for, a motion for nominations to cease?
Motion to cease.
Okay, we have a motion to cease nominations. Do we have a second? Okay, thank you. All those in favor of nomination ceasing, please raise your right hand or your card, whatever they gave you this evening. I guess they gave you cards. Shelley, would you say that?
Yeah, I would say that's your majority, yes.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to select Steve Clay as our moderator. May I have?
So moved.
Okay, and a second? Any discussion? All those in favor, will you please signify by raising your cards.
Agree.
Okay, so Mr. Clay, you've been selected as our moderator. Would you please come forward? And is this my job to do, or?
I would actually be administering his oath.
Okay, so Shelley will administer the oath of office to Steve.
Answer the phone.
All right. Steve, please raise your right hand. Do you, Steve Clay, swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Maine, so long as you shall continue to be a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent upon you as a moderator for Regional School Unit Number 67 budget process being held on May 29th, 2012, according to the Constitution and the laws of the state, so help you God. Thank you. Okay, I need a signature right there, please.
We need a motion for RSU 67 administrators to speak on behalf of their own budgets.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
At this time, I would like to ask all the election clerks to please come forward. That would include all of the municipality town clerks as well as assistant clerks. I'm going to administer the oath collectively, so if you can all stand, please, and raise your right hand. Everyone all set? Okay. Do you all swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state, so long as you shall continue to be citizens thereof, so help you God? And do you all swear that you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent upon you as ballot clerks for tonight's proceedings, according to the Constitution and the laws of the state, so help you God? Thank you.
When there's discussion on each motion tonight, if each of you speaks, could you please state your name? Going to try to limit it to about 3 minutes. No one will be allowed to speak a second time until everyone has had the chance to speak once.
I would just like to ask everyone, as we work on each individual article, we are going to be calling for yays or nays, yeses and nos. If we call for the yes vote and you are in favor of that article passing, please raise your orange card and keep it in the air until I give the signal that we have a concrete count. If we are satisfied that that motion carries, then we will not ask for the no vote. However, there may be some articles that we may ask for both. We will be recording all the votes, and as I said, it's very important for those of us that are counting that you keep your card in the air until we are satisfied. I believe that Steve is going to take each individual article one at a time, as was advised by our legal representation, and those articles will be made by the school board. Okay?
Procedural motion.
Procedural motion for this evening will be Robert's Rules of Order.
Could we request a written ballot on Articles 1 through 9? So moved.
Well, I can give you the skinny on what the attorney told me. If we were to do that, we would have to ask for that individually on each given article. We cannot do it as a collective motion.
Then I so move on Article 1.
Motion's been made on Article 1. Do we have a second?
Second.
Everyone that votes yes, please raise your hand. The ballots are going to be prepared. The ballots are going to be prepared and they'll be passed out shortly. Now, how this works is we had a motion and a second, and everybody voted to use the secret ballot. Now we have to have a motion on the article, which is going to be made by the school board, and somebody can second it, open it up for discussion, and then the ballots will be passed out. Once you mark your ballot, fold it in half, and pass it to the center of each aisle. So Article 1 is contrast.
Article 1 through 11 authorizes expenditures in cost center categories. Article 1, to see what sum the regional school unit will appropriate for regular education for the 2012-2013 fiscal year. This article includes costs for all 4-year-olds through grade 12 instructional programs, gifted and talented, and alternative education programs. The Board of School Directors recommends $5,222,457.69. I move we approve it as written.
Do we have a second? Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion?
I have a question about gifted and talented being in Article 1 instead of Article 2 under special education where it has traditionally planned it. What is the reason for that movement? And if it is not a movement, why was it under special education before? I have to answer.
Gifted and Talented is not a special education program. Special education is funded at a different level and a different rate than Gifted and Talented. It does not belong in special education, it belongs in the general budget.
Why was it traditionally in the special education budget?
I can't answer that, I don't know. That's where it has been, and it was moved out of there because it doesn't belong in there, it's not part of that cost center.
Is it run by the special education department?
It's a Gifted and Talented program, it is not run by the special education department.
Okay, who runs the Gifted and Talented program in this school district?
Gay McDonald.
And her title is what?
She is Director of Special Education. It is a stipend position. It is a stipend position. It is a grant that is written, and she does run that grant as outside of her job as Special Education Director.
So none of the things that she does for special education, for Gifted and Talented, are in this budget whatsoever?
They're not funded through special education, no.
And how much is the grant per year? And is it included in these monies? Or is it subtracted from those monies?
The grant is, you receive it in the year following the year you've written the grant. You receive it, you have to expend the money and you're reimbursed for it.
But where does the reimbursement show? Does it show in the special education portion, or does it show up here?
In the instructional line.
Okay, and in this budget, where would I find that positive instead of negative? So all of these that are listed are what we're going to spend. Where do we see anywhere in this budget where monies have come in, and what those are, and how they get used?
You don't, the revenue side of the budget is not listed in this article. You're voting on expenditures. You're not voting on revenues in this budget.
Any other discussion? Please ask everybody to, when they're talking, let the other person finish talking before they start. Thank you.
Tracy Markison. I had people email me at a Yahoo account. It was RSU 67 questions at Yahoo, because a lot of people felt as though they couldn't speak. Thank you, God. And I've been the one to speak, and I've been the one with the target. And I'm only a spokesperson, and I just want you to know that tonight. People had questions about what is in every article. Can I only ask what's in this article? Like, if they have questions on when the teacher coaches fall, can I ask that, or can I ask all the questions where they fall right now?
Just article 1.
Okay, so just a yes or no on these. Does Article 1 cover teacher coaches? If someone has a question about that.
Part of the instructional budget is professional development. The teacher coaches is still in the working stage. Currently, you're looking at a purchase service for professional development. I do believe that all of you have seen the letter that went out on the superintendent's news and wherever else it was posted. The director of professional development and the coaches are still in the development stage. We're working on the job description as an administrative team. If we do not implement that this year, the services will be purchased outside the district as they have been. So all of the professional development funding is in the instructional budget or in other areas of the budget.
Okay, so, but if someone has a question about the workings of that, they can ask that during this session, Article 1.
Yes,
It's an appropriate time to ask it.
for anything that's in this instructional budget.
Okay. Is the person who's in charge of the teacher coaches, thank you, the director of the coaches, is that also same part, Article 1?
That is Article 1, but you have to think about Title 2A, which is a federally funded, that's not part of this budget. It's not part of the general budget. That's part of our NCLB grant.
Okay, but just if they had a question about it, they would ask it now.
They would ask you.
That's all I'm wondering. The LP Bird teachers half-time positions, that would be a chance to ask it now, Article 1.
Yes,
The MASH clinic is not now.
yes.
Sorry. Is the MASH clinic now?
Do you have the specific question? Do you have the
No.
questions people want to ask?
I have some, but I know other people have them, and I know I've talked with people and they don't know when to bring them up.
Okay, well, I mean,
Do they just come ask their question and you say you can't ask that now? I don't know.
Yes,
Do you have a
I would
folder
suggest
list?
that everyone should
Okay.
ask the question, and at that time, you can decide on whether it fits that article or a different article.
Thank you very much.
Dolores Phillips, Lincoln. Has the teacher contract been ratified?
I can answer that as a no. It's a work in progress, we can't comment on it, but it is not ratified.
So, and I know we asked this last year, so I'm bringing it up again this year. How can we put together a budget without having the teacher contracts ratified?
Because in the budget process, we build in, knowing that we're going to have, obviously, the teacher salary line. We build in enough in that for those negotiations to be covered. And it is covered. There is an open offer, and it's on the table now, and it's not anything we can discuss here. It's in negotiation.
And there's sufficient amount set aside for raises in the budget?
There is sufficient funds in that budget for that salary line, yes.
And if the teachers refuse the contract, it's hard not knowing what figures are, but if the teachers refuse the contract, is there enough to negotiate? Is there wiggle room to negotiate?
Well, you're asking me to negotiate here or to divulge things that are information that's only divulged in negotiation, and I'm just not going down that road with you. We can't. It's a matter of confidentiality until it is finalized, made public.
I just want to make sure that there's money set aside for negotiations. I'm not asking for specifics.
There is. I think that's the third time that I've assured you of that. There is, yes.
It was the second, and thank you.
Okay.
Do we have any more discussion on Article 1?
Good evening, Marguerite Tilton, Lincoln, Maine. Just a quick question. If, in fact, we now have half-time positions, if we cannot find people and we need to employ people full-time for the art and the PE and the music program at the elementary school, how will that affect our taxpayers? And do we have enough funds set aside to cover that?
It's a what-if question. What if we can't fill positions? We will make sure that our children don't have any loss in services in any of those areas. Whether or not they become a combined program with another program, or whether they become part-time something and part-time something else, we will make sure that they have the services that they need. But the what-if, I can't really answer at this point.
Right, and I know that they will have coverage in the programming. I'm not speaking to that as a taxpayer. I want to know, how is that going to affect our bottom line? I guess it's kind of within the same thing. Do we have funds set aside to cover that if we need to be?
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion on Article 1?
Donna Corriers, Lincoln. I think this is where I understood you to say a couple of these things fallen under. The MASH unit still falls under this article. As a medical professional, I feel that when the MASH unit was opened up here, I thought it was a decent idea. I've changed my mind on that, and I think I would like the public to consider the MASH unit when we have a walk-in clinic on West Broadway, and we also have Penobscot Valley's emergency room for any issues that are going on. And as a parent, as a grandparent, I'm concerned about the fact that a 14-year-old can walk into the MASH unit and tell the medical professional loads of stuff, and they have sworn to secrecy about that. I feel that a parent should always be with a child when they are having a medical issue. I've experienced a lot with my family and outside of my family. I have 45 years of nursing behind me, so I think I can speak as a nurse. I also understand that teacher coaches are underneath this article. As part of 4 generations that have gone to Lincoln schools, I don't understand the part of teacher coach. When I went to school, or when my child went to school, if there was an issue with a teacher and how they were performing, I was under the impression that it was the principal that would take care of this issue. I still feel that that is the principal's responsibility to take care of that issue. And as for assistant principal at Ellenborough, we're being told that the enrollment is down, and why should we be hiring another administrative person for a school that we're told that the enrollment is down? I think that these are issues that need to be considered when you're talking about Article 1. And why try to fix something in the school system when it wasn't broke to begin with? Thank you.
Do we have any more discussion for Article 1?
Good evening. I'm Dee Zantier from Lincoln. I have the interesting opportunity of acting as this school's consulting position, and I really appreciate your comments, Donna. I would just like to speak for a moment about the MASH clinic and the value of having services available to students in the school where the student is. I think in medicine generally, what we're seeing develop over time is a trend toward bringing medicine to where the people are. You could argue value or not in that. I think in terms of children availing themselves of services, what we know is that young people between the ages of probably 13 and 25 are perhaps the most underserved population in the country. We also have some pretty good information that when we bring services to the students where they go to school, they are more likely to receive the services that they need. The MASH unit was established in response to some identified needs within the school. We don't have to rehash the beginnings. And I think what we saw over time is its utilization increased, and interestingly, not just in the medical side, which, if anything, was perhaps more underused, but in the behavioral health, mental health arenas, where students were able to access the kinds of supportive care that they required. And it was probably among those students that I have had the most feedback telling me that we should not allow this to disappear, because these students received services that they might otherwise not have had access to. In terms of parental controls or permissions, two points. First, students may access these services at any location without parental consent. This is not unique to a MASH clinic. And second, in the MASH clinic, we actually perhaps have one more barrier because we do require parental permission for utilization of the expanded medical services in this location. The advantage to the requirement of the parental consent is perhaps that it opens the conversation between student and parent. The other thing that I think the advantage we see is that students are more likely to remain in school. And if we keep students where they're learning, we might reasonably expect that things will go better. I think life has changed a lot over the years, and I think that the burdens that students carry have certainly increased in magnitude and depth. And so I would encourage the community to support bringing these services to the school where students are.
Do we have any more discussion for Article 1?
Frank Castro, Lincoln. Some things have been bothering me, and one of the things is Memorial Day was this weekend, and this is America, and we had all these women and men die for this country, so we'd have a free America. We could speak freely. And I find it kind of sad that we have a young lady that comes up here to speak or at other meetings, and she's targeted, and individuals are targeted. And I would hope the board, if this is being done, that you would investigate it and take appropriate action. It's pretty sad. This is America. If we can't speak free in America, and all them people that have died for this country, they're being disrespectful. They're disrespectful. So I would hope if this is being done and somebody would investigate it, if it is being done, something's done about it. Because that's pretty sad that somebody has to come up here and break down because they're afraid. And I've heard it, I've seen it, and it's got to stop. Today, it's got to stop.
I feel I need to respond as board chair. I know of no one who has targeted anyone, and no one has come to me with a complaint saying that they have been targeted. Because if that is going on, it is certainly not acceptable. There's a lot of rumors going around out there, and no one has lost their job that we as the board or the superintendent has been aware of. And if anyone has a concern, then you need to come to me as board chair or to some of the other board members and let them know. But please come with specifics and do not come with rumors and innuendos. And I also would like to comment on the MASH clinic that we have put $45,000 into the budget for the MASH clinic, and that is to replace the grant that we were receiving from the state, and we want to continue with our MASH clinic. We're seeing great results with it, and so in order to continue, we must replace the $45,000 that we lost this year. Thank you.
Do we have any other discussion? Is it going to be about Article 1, or is it about... It kind of needs to stay on topic. I mean, this is a budget meeting, it's Article 1 of the budget. And I know that people are frustrated.
I have one more thing to say about this response.
My name is Nancy Guido, I'm from Lincoln. I wasn't going to speak, but I guess I'm a little confused from last meeting. Jackie, you just said, if someone's having an issue, come to you. Wasn't it last week, and I believe that's really sorry, that it was said by Mr. Trask to go for the chain of command and not go right to you guys? Did I misunderstand that? No, I thought John brought it up that.
Yeah, I'll absolutely respond. You absolutely, your board members are elected officials. You You go to your board member, but the board member must follow the policy of telling you and helping you through the chain of how complaints are handled. We are not board members when we don't sit at this table. We're plain ordinary citizens. We're no better than anybody else. When we're not at this table, even when we're at this table, we're no better than anybody else. But
So if I see Governor LePage on the street, I can't call him Governor LePage? He's just the governor when he's in Augusta?
No, this is, when we're not sitting at this table.
I think we're getting way off topic
No,
here.
it just needs to be clarified that whomever is getting targeted can go to a school board member. What, they have to come to the meeting, school board meeting, to bring it up? Or see you out on the street?
Seriously, this is a budget meeting, and like I said, I know there are other things.
Well, it was brought
going
up.
on.
It was brought up, sorry.
On the Article 1 with the teacher coaches, you've explained, the superintendent has explained how that will save us money because we won't need to attend as many workshops to have contact with experts, that we go to these workshops and we learn from experts, and the coaches would save money and time out of our classrooms to do that. So I wondered if you could speak on that, and also what expertise these coaches would have, because when I go to a workshop, it's specifically for technology or specifically for math or specifically for science. So could you speak on the credentials of the teacher coaches, if I'm not misunderstanding the teacher coaches?
The teacher coaches is something that the administrative team still has in the development stage. The purpose of that is to keep teachers in the classroom, differentiate the professional development as teachers request, using a group of professionals that we ourselves train to keep the knowledge in our district. Rather than send staff out, leaving the classroom, we had some staff members that were out of the classroom for 40 days a year. And that's not what's best for kids. And that's not what's best for learning or what's best for the school system. We felt that we could do a better job for our teachers, bringing them what they needed. We've spent $600,000 over the past 4 years on initiatives where we sent professional development individuals with a nice large check down the road. We want to keep that in our schools and train our staff members, or a set of staff members, to work directly with teachers using data, using student achievement, with instructional practices, with the technology, with whatever the teachers need. Hence, that's the surveys that have gone out for professional development. The administrative team will be analyzing that this summer, and we will put together a professional development plan. And our hope was to have a set of teachers with a skill set that could help us carry that out. If we cannot put that together by the start of school, we will carry out professional development as we have in the past. So there isn't any change at this point. That's a proposal for how can we do it better. And the administrative team has not yet finished working on that.
So it wouldn't replace my individual workshops myself. It would be if we have a new initiative coming, like we do thoughtful ed in our schools, it would be something like that we would train the thoughtful ed people. If
we take thoughtful ed, for instance, we're looking at, we have a group of teacher leaders who are working with thoughtful ed. They will become the trainers for thoughtful ed. Last year and the year before and the year before that, we spent $75,000 bringing someone to us. We now have our staff trained that can work directly with teachers. So that's basically the philosophy around using teacher coaches.
What new initiatives are coming where we would need more people because we've already trained the people who are in that building?
We haven't decided whether or not that will be the group of teachers or not. Like I said, it's still in the development stage. We have not completed the job descriptions yet. It's a work in progress. And if we can't put it together using groups to do data, to do thoughtful education, to do a literacy initiative, then we will contract those services out. So what this budget holds is the opportunity for us to do either.
We don't really know what we're voting on.
You're voting on professional development for teachers, whether they're delivered through teacher coaches or literacy coaches is usually what they're called in other districts. We decided we would use a different name because we do a lot of thoughtful ed work. So you're voting on professional development for teachers that's wrapped into this budget, whether it's a workshop or whether it's course, professional development that's brought to us. Okay. So there isn't any shift in funding, it's shift between lines. It's either we pay people in-house or we pay people outside the school.
My final thing. People who are deciding whether we do this or not, who are those?
The administrative team, they're sitting right along that road right there.
Okay, thank you.
Gerald Craig with the Maine. This is for the moderator question. Can this Article 1 be taken line item, or do we have to vote on it as an entire item? Can we vote on it to take it line item? I believe we can do that.
No, the motion's already been made and seconded for Article 1.
As a whole?
Steve, could I make a clarification there?
Yep.
The way the state has these articles written, the lawyers write up these warrants for us and these articles, and the information that is below it is given to you by our bookkeeper, and she does that so you can see what money or what areas are covered in that particular article. This is not a line item budget. These are just descriptors that are under that particular category. So they would need to be voting on just the article, not on those descriptors.
I'm Sarah Crockett from Lincoln. The superintendent mentioned $600,000 for contractual representatives, professional development, and substitute teachers. It was sort of implied that that $600,000 was in the school budget. Not all of it was. Much of that was paid for by grants. The large amount of money paid for substitutes, however, did come from the local budget. My question, will the money saved if you adopt a teacher-coach way of professional development, will the money saved in substitute salaries cover the salaries and benefits of the proposed professional development coordinator, who will then be yet another administrator in the district, and the 3 teacher coaches whose job descriptions are in the developmental stage? So how do you know really how much they're going to cost? If the answer to that is yes, it will be covered by money saved in substitutes. By how much? And if the answer is no, where in the budget does the increase come?
To answer that correct question, yes, a lot of the funding came from Title IIA, which it will continue to come from to support our professional development. The rest comes from a purchase service for professional development. Substitutes, all of that funding is in this line in the article. The reason it is still in the development stage is we have not yet had the opportunity to bring it to life. If we do not hire the teacher coaches, we will be contracting services. The dollar amount will not change. We either contract out or we pay for in-house staff to handle that for us. There isn't any increase whether we do or whether we don't. And it seems to me that we probably should have not done a full disclosure on that to let people know what the vision was for us to change the professional development and increase our staff. And that seems to be a point of contention, and I'll apologize for that. And to clarify, there is no increase to the budget. The budget is as it is. We'll include the Title IIA, part of the NCLB grant. We will either run professional development as we have, or we will provide it in-house. There won't be any shift or to the taxpayer.
Do we have any other discussion for Article 1?
My name is Jabet Mayo, I'm from Lincoln. With regards to the MASH unit, this $45,000 is to replace a grant that we were getting from Health Access Network, is that correct?
It was coming through Health Access Network, but it was actually coming through the state school-based health grant center, whatever they call it down there. But Health Access Network was the one who had written the grant. And every year you have to let them know that you want it, and that didn't happen this year. So this was the last year of the grant, and so we lost it.
So who are the employees employed by that are working at the MASH unit?
Well, they're going to, Health Access pays their employees, and with that $45,000, we're going to contract services with them for medical, one hour a day, 5 days a week, and 2 hours a day, 5 days a week for mental health. And that's as far as we've gotten so far.
So this is going to be a contracted service with Health Access Network. Why aren't we going out to bid with other agencies in town that could do this work for maybe less than $45,000? With that said, I'd like to make an amendment to Article 1 that reduces that $5,222,000 by $45,000. So my amendment would read $5,177,457.69.
Would you repeat that number again, please?
$5,177,457.69.
Thank you. And yes, we are looking for other options. Point of order, is that motion in order?
The change to the main motion that's been accepted on the floor, the non-procedural motion.
That is though.
Okay, an amendment has been made to deduct $45,000. In order for that motion to go through, we need a second. I second. Is there any discussion on?
Point of procedure, I don't believe that you can move forward with the second motion before the first motion is dealt with.
I was actually told by the school attorney that any amendments that come on the floor, if they are made and seconded, that they do have to be taken up first before we return to the main motion.
My name's David Lee. I've run moderators. I've been a moderator for 10 years in 2 different communities, and you can amend any article you want. You can put any amount of money in the article you want, unless the money is already in the article. And you're absolutely right. You discuss, you call for a second for the amendment, and then a discussion of the amendment, and then you call for a vote of the article as, you call for a vote for the amendment. And if the amendment passes, then you go back to the original article and call for a vote on the article as amended. And that's Robert's Rule of Order. I'd also like to say that if you're going to follow Robert's Rules of Order, then this meeting should all be conducted through you, which means every speaker that comes up to this mic should be directing their attention to moderator asking questions to the moderator, making comments to the moderator, and then you seek, in the case of questions, you seek the answers from the appropriate people, personnel, so that the meeting is you and I, not different personalities in the room, just to help.
Okay, so the amendment to Article 1 is to deduct $45,000, and that's been seconded. Do we have any discussion?
Bill Trevitt, Lincoln. I've watched the MASH clinic for the last few years, and I think you're dealing with a group of students that probably would not get to see a doctor if we didn't have this MASH unit, either because they can't get in to see their own doctor, the emergency room may be too expensive and they don't have some kind of coverage to get into it. Do I want to pay the $45,000? No, but I think this is something that the kids desperately need. Thank you.
Is there any more discussion on the amendment?
Hi, Lise Ant here again. I'd like to let you know that $45,000 does not in any way cover the cost of running the MASH clinic or providing these services. But it is certainly a small amount towards allowing us to negotiate some contract services, and we are in negotiation, not just with Health Access Network, but with other providers in the community in order to find the best and most affordable way to provide these services in an easily accessed location. The big barrier to service for young people is access, and access in the school makes a huge difference. So I would hope, I mean, the estimated costs beyond that were much higher, at least 3 or 4 times that amount of money. That amount of money is just what the grant was for. And that amount of money would allow us to at least be able to contract some of the services in order for those to continue to exist as we go through further negotiation. And no one would like to see it offered for free any more than I would, but free comes with a cost.
Do we have any other discussion on the amendment?
Again, just one more point of order. If the board would have been transparent with their numbers, we might have had more information to be able to make an informed decision. How do we know how many of these children are Maine Care people or eligible for Maine Care? How do we know what reimbursement the school department could possibly get if they were employees of the school or whatever? In my opinion, you're asking us to vote on something that we have no idea what we're voting on. Transparency is the key, and when you don't have numbers, the idea is to vote it down or not to agree. So that's why I made my motion.
Any other discussion on the amendment? I believe this is going to be a paper vote because of the motion on the other ones. The ballots will be passed out. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know how these things work, but the $45,000 being reduced, it sounds like, I don't know anything about the MASH clinic, I don't have an opinion on it, but if we do that, are we sure that that would go to not funding the MASH clinic and say not be taken away from other parts of Article 1, like salaries or fringe benefits? Do we have to specifically say that what that 45 amendment is? I don't know.
Mr. Moderator, as a community, we can vote this article up, or we can vote this article down. As to when we come to a point of money in this article where we've all decided that we can live with that article, with that money. Still, it's the superintendent and the school board that will decide where that money goes. That's just a hard fact. I'm not trying to make anyone ugly. I'm just saying that if that 45,000 or 145,000 or 400,000 is taken out of the budget, it's still that article in this budget. The superintendent will run the budget and put the money where the superintendent feels that it needs to be. So we can vote it up or down. The superintendent will spend the money where the superintendent feels will best benefit children and the school. Thank you.
Do we have any other discussion?
Hi, my name is John Harris. John Harris. I live here in Lincoln. My question is, what percentage are underinsured? Pretty reduced lunch.
At this time, I believe we have 59%, 52% of our students who belong to the clinic and to the MASH clinic. And Han is the one who handles all of the finances for the clinic. So I can't answer your question. They're the ones who do all the billing and take care of all the main care and all of that. That's confidential information. We can't know, how many kids.
Well, if they're on your main care, aren't they insured?
Well, yes, they are, but I mean, it's as
I'm saying the people who are not insured, whether covered through main care or through other health care, like Blue Cross, I'm saying who is not insured.
We don't have that information. Han handles, like I said, all the billing and everything that goes through the MASH clinic. So as the advisory board of the MASH clinic, we're told some financials, but we're not given specifics on who belongs to what and all of that type of thing.
My next question is, would it make more sense to bus the kids to Health Access Center or other healthcare facility and it's convenient for them at like a lunch period or something period instead of spending that budget towards that?
Could we ask Norma Dill to speak? She works in the MASH clinic and she can tell us what goes on there, wherever she may be. I saw her come in tonight. Basically, we put this $45,000 in the budget to cover the loss of the grant. Would you please answer these questions? They're way over my head.
I'm not sure. I'm Norma Dill, in case nobody knows. And I'm not sure I have all the answers, but this is our 5th year that we've been running the MASH clinic. And yes, we did have a $45,000 grant, which because it was good for 5 years, and you can't try and get it again until the 5 years are up, because it somehow did not get in. We lost it. But basically, as they said, you have to sign up for the clinic if you want your child seen. If you don't, then you can see me as a school nurse, and that's fine. As far, I could run the numbers, and I didn't realize I should have, I guess, but I do have numbers as far as who does belong, who has insurance, who doesn't have insurance, that type of thing. And I guess I need to know what your questions are. I guess I don't understand the concern of...
I was referring to what percentage students that are going to your facility for their health are actually non-insured either for Medicare or other than Blue Cross?
Right off the top of my head, I can't give you an exact answer, but I would say it's probably between 6 and 10%, more towards the 6.
And it isn't, and they can get a sliding fee scale as far as getting services. And in fact, they really need them. I think they would be seen even if they couldn't pay, if they were, you know, for something serious. As far as busing students there, I guess the parents could take them if that's the case. It seemed like we were trying to keep the kids in school more. I think especially with counseling, mental health services, that has increased significantly. And it isn't to say that, well, I guess in my mind, I do think there are a lot more issues with students nowadays, or it seems to be that way. They're more comfortable having someone to talk to. And if they're right here, once they get used to us, they seem to come in quite often and say, can I see whoever, you know? And I think that's been quite helpful for a lot of them. As far as the medical services, I don't think that's utilized as much, but I think with kids, I'm sick today, I need to see somebody now. Now I'm going to make an appointment for 6 months from now. So, and again, our hours have been cut back this year. We went from 2 hours a day for the PCPs and 3 to 4 hours a day for the counselors, back to 1 hour for the PCP and 2 hours for the counselor. Kids like consistency. And we were, a year or so ago, we felt we really had come a long way. Marana Cook, which is in Reedfield, is a clinic in the state of Maine that's really well run. And we thought we were really getting that way, and then the changes often may happen, but the kids need the consistency, and to take it away, you know, I think that things won't run as well, and probably will dwindle out as things too, but we felt we were really doing a very nice service to all the kids. And I've had parents say, you know, I really am glad, you know, that National is there. And I've had other people, and if they don't want them to belong, they don't. A lot of parents, I guess, feel, you know, they can take their own children, but I think on the whole, I feel it's been a very good thing. Now, I'm not retiring because we lost $45,000, but, you know, I guess I'd be very disappointed if all the hard work we put into this kind of just ended away. If there are any other questions, I'm getting more comfortable being up here. I probably can answer them. I usually get up and public speak, but one-on-one, I think I do okay.
Dave? I know this is a moving target because it can't be consistent because people jump on and jump off the welfare rolls, but in Lincoln, about 35% of all of the people that live here are on Medicaid.
Do we have any other discussion on the amendment?
Donna Frere again from Lincoln. I guess I opened a can of worms, but my point behind this is medical is medical, and I do not believe that we should be paying for medical out of our school budget. Taxpayers are paying for kids to be taken care of in the school and being taught, not to be taken care of medically. I know more than anybody about medical, and I know about bringing the medical to the patient. I just feel that the school and the taxpayers should not be paying for it through the school system.
Any other discussion on the amendment to Article 1?
My name is Chris Manley. Steve, I'd like for John and Trent to repeat that last issue for some clarification about that when it comes out of the budget. I'd like to just share that again, please.
Mr. Moderator, the way this is set up is that the public can vote the budget up or vote the budget down. But the public cannot tell the superintendent where the superintendent and the board, I should say, where the administration are going to spend the money that they're granted for a budget. They can vote it up, vote it down, but they can't tell the administration where that money is spent. Do we have any other discussion on the amendment to Article 1?
Discussion?
Make a motion to do it in writing. The article itself needs to be done in writing, but not the amendment.
I'd like to make a motion that this article will vote on now, down by secret ballot.
We have a second? Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those in favor of the secret ballot? Okay, opposed? Yeah, everybody, could you please keep your hands up right now if you're voting no? It's too close to, let's count. Okay, could everybody that voted yes, please raise your hands again? The motion was defeated, 66 to 48. If anybody did receive a ballot, could they please pass them to the center aisle? Okay, so on the amendment to deduct 45,000, Article 1, all those in favor?
Would you please read what the amendment is so everybody knows what they're voting? Yeah.
It was a deduction of 45,000. Okay, all those in favor of deducting the 45,000 from the MASH clinic?
From Article 1.
From Article 1, just Article 1 in general, okay. Now, those who are opposed to deducting $45,000 from Article 1?
I don't even know what you
The amendment did not pass. It was 104 to keep and 9 to remove the money. Okay, now we're back to Article 1 as the motion that was made and seconded before, and that is by secret ballot. Do we have any other discussion before we do that ballot? Failed 38 to 97. What we have to do is revisit Article 1 and somebody make a motion for a different amount. So that was
Lawrence Clay. This has been a fiasco from the start. It was supposed to start at 6:30. We sat here all this time. It's going on 9 o'clock. We ran into this last year. We ran into it 3 or 4 years ago. And this is just a fiasco. It's an embarrassment to the taxpayers of the town of Lincoln. I make a motion that we adjourn and do this right at another time.
Second.
Yes.
We have to do something with Article 1. We have to vote it up or not.
You get the motion before the floor.
We have a motion on the floor right now to adjourn with a second.
This happened last year, with the moderator last year. We didn't pass an article, and we stayed here about 2 hours, and it finally dawned on someone that you can't pass a budget if this doesn't pass, and we adjourned and had a meeting another night. Instead of wasting 2 more hours, I make a motion that we adjourn, come back and do it right next time.
And we have a second to that? Any discussion? All those in favor? The majority has voted to adjourn, and the next meeting will be June 5th at 6:30.
My last concert. Not right.